Alright, so I'm installing a rain barrel. I'm going to try to do it on 2 courses of brick, but I may eventually turn this into 3 or 4 possibly, depending on how stable this is, but I'm going to let the weight of the first rain kind of stabilize it, so hopefully it'll stabilize it anyway. But this is what these people don't tell you. So when you got a gutter, you got to cut it, and you got to cut it, but see this? That makes it really hard. Been nice if that was just squared off like the top, but then how do you attach it? I'm doing some screws, but in doing this, for me to be able to cut it, I had to unfortunately do this. I took it off the bottom. I'm gonna have to go get some new straps, and so right now it's just hanging. This is really how to get everything to stay, because after you make this cut, you really need an extra hanger here and here. You really need 2 extra hangers, and then to make a cut. So if you're doing this, look for one that is flat like this, not this. Then this is not rigid, so it's pretty long. I'm gonna leave it pretty long for now, but hopefully it'll be fine. There's another one that I bought for another person, and it had hose fittings here, and it was squared off. Still had to do this cut. That was still a problem. I've forgotten about it. Been about 2 years ago. But you really need, before you do this, to find, they make a one that, like, this is vinyl, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to make it work on vinyl, but actually just clamps it instead of wraps around. But this one, I'm gonna drill those out, somehow attach it, but I don't know how I'm gonna do that. It will be engineered. Anyway, I thought I'd just fill you in. And then the other part is they didn't send a drill bit or step bit or anything for this, so a step drill bit is probably your best bet, but I don't have one, so I'm going to try it with a hole saw. And then this is thick enough it'll thread. It'll cut its own threads, and then this comes off, just in case anybody's wondering. But I would get a larger volume than I did. This came with a kit, and I procrastinated for 2 years, so I can't really send it back or nothing. So it'll be fine. But they make a much bigger ball valve, easier to turn everything. I recommend that instead. So if you happen to be seeing this and want to see a few of the hurdles, you need it up tall, at least elbow height. See, right now, this is more my knee height, but if I'm holding a garden hose, I'll be above that spot. And so this needs to be at your elbow height, plus it needs to be over everything you're going to water. And so, like, those plants won't be able to get this water. And I think ultimately I am going to abandon this idea altogether. I'm going to get a pump, 110. I'm not going to mess with solar and batteries and all that. That just runs the price way up for a 55 gallon. If you was using a lot of water, it'd be worth it. But at Harbor Freight, there's an electric, and it's called a transfer pump, but I'm gonna get one with a pressure switch and run a plug over here, and that way have pressure without having to worry about building all this up. You can just set it on the ground, run it to the pump, and the pump will do the rest. And it'd be a little bit more expensive, but it'd be safer and less hassle, and There's a whole lot of good to spend an extra $200. But that's the case. You know, the pump is about $170, and the hose pipe, you know, hose pipes are expensive these days, so by the time you tally up the cost of each part, you're probably looking at $300 per location. So get the biggest barrel you can get if you're going to spend that much money. I don't know if I'd spend it for one 55-gallon drum, but you know, this could be 4 to 6 of them before it's all over with, and then it might start paying for itself and not buying city water. Because when you buy city water, you got to pay for the sanitary sewer. So $20 worth of water will cost you $80 because of the sewer fee. Anyway, just hope this helps somebody. By the way, this hole up here I'm putting in here is a test hole, because you don't want to put a hole down there and find out you picked the wrong thread size. But so watch, this one should, if I can get it started, yeah, there we go. Well, it's going a little sideways because I'm doing it kind of crooked, but you see what I'm saying? It's thick enough that it'll thread itself. But there you go. That's the way I tested it before I put one down here that I can't take back. Okay, I'm finished until it rains, and then hopefully everything's fine and it settles okay. We'll see. I'm leaving it kind of loose just in case something falls. It won't tear everything down. So I'll give you an update. So if you see how this is slightly above that way it'll fill up, but then it'll start draining backwards. As it tries to get above this, it'll hopefully come back down. That's the plan anyway. And then I hate that looks kind of a little jankety, but like I said, you just got to do what you do. And then what I may end up doing is having to buy a new downspout to get all this reattached. I got to rebuild this deck anyway. So anybody ever doing this, I'm gonna take up a few boards in there. I'm gonna put some new feet. So if you think about the feet under your bed, that deck is really just a bed. Put some more feet down. That way when I take these up, the other feet will hold it up while I'm putting the new stuff back in. And be a couple day project, but hopefully it'll go good.